Okay. And then I put yeah.
Does anybody need a drink or anything? Are we all good? What do you want?
Right, so where are we now?
What were your favourite hobbies when you were younger? Hobbies or activities?
Just playing out.
I suppose, yeah, going to youth club and playing out. We used to play roundies a lot. Yeah, but there wasn't that much to do when we were younger. You know, it's not like today.
Yeah.
But we just when we played in the streets a lot. But that's about it. Went for walks, listen to the radio.
Yeah, no, I used to borrow my brother's radio on a Sunday. 11 o'clock till 12. Radio looks like the top 4.
Yes.
Top 20. Yeah, used to listen to that.
I know. Yeah. Used to hide.
Yeah.
When you had the pirate radio, we used to go down by the river, a group of us, lasses and that, because it was illegal. We used to listen to it there.
What sort of music do you listen to?
Well, much to my daughter's annoyance, they were brought up with Cliff Richard.
I like Meatloaf, but I like Queen.
I like those of the 60s, the Brooks, the Beatles and
60s and 70s.
Yeah.
We graduated to about the 80s and that was it. It got too modern for us.
Yeah.
I've got cake if you've got the time. I'll cover an inch in wide, how I like rhyme. Swish and stir, you were young once we learn over brownies and brew the memories return. We'll lay up the red velvet carpet for you, talk about how much has changed. With this cake and cover, we're the same. I got the cake if you've got the time. Community makes the memories chime. Tell me a story of friends outside. Put your phones away and live life live. And we'll lay out the red velvet carpet for you. Talk about how much has changed. But with this cake and cover, we're the same. With this cake and cover, we're the same.
What was your favourite food?
We'll have to give these all different names.
Anything with potatoes, because I love potatoes.
Chocolate, and you should be cake, chocolate. I'm quite healthy, so I eat everything.
Yeah. I like vegetables and fruit. I love fruit. Yeah.
I'm not really a fruit
Potatoes, I love
person.
potatoes.
I'm not really a fruit person, but I will have some fruit. It's not my favourite thing.
Yeah.
I like roast dinner as well.
Yeah.
Roast dinner.
With the Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it without the I love a good Chinese. You haven't.
Oh, I like Chinese. I think as much as I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, doing it with me, I don't think.
What's your dream destination to go to? Like, if you had no limitations, where would you go?
Well, I've been to Canada, and I'd love to go back to Canada. It's vast, and there's so much to see. We've been to Russia, and I like to. Well, not anymore now. But I mean, that is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
You know, it's always at war.
With
It had to be
I don't know where I would.
prescribed job.
I suppose
I would like, when we went to Canada, we went from Montreal all the way across. And to Las Vegas, I wouldn't mind going back. I'd love to go back.
we went on the train. We were on it for about 2 days.
Oh,
And that was fabulous. It really was, yeah.
yeah, I'd go back there, I think. I'd go back to America as well.
I think I'd go back to Greece because the people there are really friendly. I like the food there as well. And the weather's alright, but it's a bit too hot.
Not like what we have, is it?
Well, there's probably stuff that we wouldn't speak now anyway.
I know, which I know.
Yeah.
Try our very best, shall we?
Yeah.
We have dreams.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I like going to New York. I've not been, but I would love to.
I would love to go to New York at Christmas.
I've been hearing it's good at Christmas. I've heard it's really good at Christmas.
Yeah, the maces and all the windows.
That's it.
I love that.
They go overboard, don't they, with the lights and everything. Yeah, I'd like that.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Madrid.
In there.
I've been to like I've been to like Barcelona and other places. Me and my dad went on like when I went to Spain, we went on a little road trip. So we went to like Barcelona, I think we went to Valencia, and we went to some other nice places, but we didn't get to go to Madrid, so that's the place I want to go to.
So this table's kind of like the table where we've got the camera and the microphone. If we could swap you guys with this middle table, you can still continue your chatting and whatever. If you guys want to get a drink or a cake, you can, because there's loads of stuff left. Get another cake if you want.
Everything used to be different back in the day. Where did the time go? What happened to time? Time and time again, I look back, what happened? Nowadays everything is so interchanging. Why, oh why did it happen? Where did the peace go? Where did the peace go? What happened? What happened? Where did the time change? Like why? Like why? Nowadays people can be so uptight. What happened? What happened? I remember years ago I play outside. Years ago, I remember years ago when life was simple.
So, while we're in front of the camera, what we've been talking about is Gilbert and mental health and a bit about social media. Yes. So, do you think there's a difference now in like young people and mental health? And do you think Gilbert's helped young people as well? Do you want to just explain a bit about what Gilbert actually does?
Well, Gilbert is was an orphan piglet. He was 1 day old, and I'd lost my dog. And my parents both together, so of course I was going through quite a desperate stage really. And somebody told me about this little orphan piglet that was 1 day old, and he'd not been accepted by his mum and the others. So the moment that I saw him, that very day, and then when I saw him, everything lifted for a few minutes, a few seconds. So obviously my mental health was in quite a mess, and he made me smile. So the next day I went, and the next day I went, until finally I said, can I please have him? And I brought him home. And he gave me an interest. But what started off from there was that one of my friends, Pauline, who lives and backs onto my field where Gilbert and the horse are, she actually does do a lot of crafts, and I asked her if she could cut out. So we came to here, to the Explore Library. I mean, we do actually stipulate that it's not on every all crafts, it is about the pig. It is about Gilbert the pig, so people cut out felt, people will cut out, will crochet, will knit, we do mobile phone cases or spectacle cases with the pig on, we do handbags, we do hand pits, Gilbert the pig, Lily, that's a Lily, she's fictitious, you see, that's his girlfriend. But there's a story, and so now, well, anything and everything that we make, we sell for cancer research, and we sell it for Nuzlit's Petting Farm, which is you've got to make an appointment, and it's for therapy and anxiety and depression. So we hand all our monies and funds over to them. And it's just about him, it just brings you such pleasure. And we'll all get together, and if anybody's doing anything for charity, they ask us and say, could you put a hamper together for Gilbert's stuff? And we put it together, and then they can auction it, or they can, raffle it. Gilbert's story. In the month of October, one very frosty morn, inside a stable, all cosy and warm, Piglet Gilbert, that's me, was born. I snuggled up to Mum with the other 3 or 4, but I soon began to realise Pig Mum didn't want me anymore. She pushed me into a corner, like little Jack Horner, and there I laid, hungry, lonely, and so desperately afraid. Now there is a patron saint of all animals, called St. Francis of Assisi, who is supposed to take care of me. Where is he? Just at that, a human came along and let out a huge sigh. Oh dear, oh my, you're an orphan piglet, I wonder why. I'll have to feed you, I'll definitely try. Now time has ticked on, and I'm so big and strong, and new Mum tells me I can't do anything wrong. She'll never let me go. We'll be together forever and ever, because she tells me so. Patron saint of all animals, St. Francis of Assisi, thank you for watching over me, and for my new Mum giving me a try, because the human touch means so much. I know what a lucky little piggy am I.
So Alicia asks, what's your favourite food? On the back of Gilbert liking slushies.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's not pork.
No. Has it affected your diet? Do you eat meat?
I eat very little meat. I do eat meat, but I eat very little meat. But pork, I do have an odd sausage, but otherwise it has put me off a little bit.
Understandable.
Yeah, it has.
Understandable.
And then we have on the table downstairs, and we're all sitting there. There's usually about 12, 14 of us on a Thursday. And Wolfie, one of our gentlemen who comes in, he sits there with a bacon sandwich. And we always say to him, that's Gilbert, that's not me. We should go and sit at another table, shouldn't we?
So, I've shown you around the office. You met Darren. How are you finding it so far?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, there is one more room I do need to show you, though. It's the smoking room. Don't worry if you don't smoke. There's people nice there. You don't have to smoke to go in there. Just come on, follow me.
There's no smoking.
It's all free parcels here, Jelly Top.
Fantastic. Okay, ask away, James.
Things that could happen. I never thought they would happen. To me, it's sort of like scary.
Oh, my favourite food. What's your favourite food?
I haven't really got one.
You just like food?
Yeah.
I particularly like sweets, I'm afraid. I'm a sweet girl. I like apple pies and apple crumble and fruit things. I've got a very sweet tooth. Do you have a sweet tooth?
Sometimes. Would you rather be young now or in the 50s, 60s or 70s?
Well, I was young in the 60s. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I definitely prefer it to now, because there's so many difficulties now that you've got all the social media and all those sorts of pressures. We used to go out and play. We used to go and build dens in the woods and, things like that, and play cricket and hopscotch and things. Well, they don't do that. They just play on games and things. I think that we had the last good childhood, really.
I agree with that.
It's just
growing up, well, younger than what you are. We used to be always playing out in the street. In fact, our nearest local park in Leeds was at least 20 minutes away, so it wasn't on your doorstep. And living in a city like Leeds, it was all built up rather than, so we didn't have green spaces. I was pleased to come to York and into the house I lived where you had actually got grass verges, which was nice, and that's why I object to people parking on them. But yeah, we used to play football and cricket out in the street. Hopscotch we used to play.
You used to go out first thing and your mum said, be back for your tea.
Yeah, I know.
You'd take a jam sandwich with you and you were off for the day.
Sandwiches are more of a category than a thing. Auntie says diagonally, but Mum cuts them in half, then cling. Now, the crust is the part which some enjoy and others just pick at. Don't ask what goes into tiger bread if you love your pet cat. What do you call what a burger goes into? A bun, barm, bap or bread cake. If you say the wrong name in the wrong place, that's a big mistake. Clearly the most important thing that makes a sandwich count, how easy is it to hold with a flask as you go out and about?
One of the things I've noticed is, I do a lot of like poetry and stuff like that, and a lot of the people who do it are younger than me. They're sort of in their sort of 19, 20, 21, and a lot of them are deciding for themselves to just stop doing the social media and stop doing other people's all the time because they've just realised it's bad. They've done it all the childhood and they've gone, this is really bad for you.
What do you do in your life
The wire I've got, I can't remember what it is, but it's really good.
What do you do after your life, in your life, to look after your well-being, to sort of feel better?
Yeah, well, I volunteer at Caring for Cats, and I look after the cats there. I play with them if they need playing with, or I help the ones that are a bit shyer to be a bit braver. And I also try and go into the garden to get a bit of fresh air and have a little look around there. And I sew, and I stitch, and I do all those sorts of things. So I keep myself busy and find that if I use a single focus on something, such as Sudokus, then I can do that and blot out everything else. What about you?
Well, I don't think I, until I got much older, I had to think about things like that. You know, we were active, we were always on the go, weren't we, as youngsters?
Yeah.
You know, so I just never thought about that. But in later life, I had a different outlook, and in fact, 6 or 7 years ago, I had a pulmonary embolism, it's a blood clot on my lungs, and I could have died. But after that, I went to see a physiotherapist to find out what I could do to sort of keep myself fitter, if you like. And so I've been to see this lady every week since, but in the course of that time, my wife got ill. She got Alzheimer's, and so I had to look after her. And I felt in myself that I couldn't afford to be poorly, because if I wasn't there to look after her, there was nobody else to. And that, like, you don't realise that that motivation just keeps you going.
No.
No, they say you've got to eat so much dirt before you die.
Well, that's my mother used to say that. She used to say, "Got to eat a pound of muck before you die." That was it.
Yeah, they do.
That's a great phrase. I've never heard it before, and I'm nicking that from one of my poems, honestly.
And we weren't brought up about hygiene and stuff like that.
You're out in the garden.
You can get obsessive about this.
I used to pick up worms and take them into the house and show them.
Yeah, I think that you can be. I mean, with my daughter, I don't get like that because it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, they need to just play. I mean, my daughter plays outside a lot. She's 8 and she loves it. She'll spend a bit of time. She mostly draws rather than goes on her iPad because we've always sort of limited it. You know what I mean? We've always said you can have a bit, but then you don't have it and do something else. And she just accepts that, and that's something that we've always said with her. It's like, get outside, get a bit cold sometimes, get a bit hot sometimes, get drenched because it's raining. It's fine.
Builds
you're
up
not made of sugar.
No, you're not going to melt because it rains.
No.
My life now is sort of going to, because I'm on my own at home, I socialise, so I like to go to the pub and have a drink, not because I need a drink,
No,
because
because
there's people there I know.
Yeah.
So this place has been a boon to me because I come down here a couple of times a week and I get to know quite a few people to talk to.
I think
on
this
your
place
own.
is marvellous.
So I'm quite happy so long as I can. I'm fit enough to go out and meet and talk.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. There's nothing better than I love people. There's nothing better than seeing people and having a laugh and stuff like that. It makes you. The difficult things in life are made a lot easier if you can have a bit of a laugh with some of the people.
Oh yeah.
I like people watching as well.
Outrageous
stories.
I like doing it in restaurants and guessing whether people are on first dates. Is it the first time they've met each other?
Oh,
Or have they been together for 20 years?
You see them and you think they're not married to each other.
Hello everyone, today we're going to be reading Once Upon a Time. Ooh. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who was growing up in Yorkshire. This was a time where he had no phone, no social media, and definitely no internet. Without these things to worry about, the little boy could explore with his friends and play outside all day. The only thing he had to do was to be back in time for tea. The boy grew up into a teenager, and when he wasn't at school, he spent his time potholing the Yorkshire Dales. You might be thinking, filling in potholes? How boring. But he was actually exploring caves and tunnels with his friends. Sometimes he liked to spend his weekends in the city too, seeing live music, going to the cinema, and even watching shows in the theatre. But mostly, the teenage boy liked to go outside with his sandwich and flask, being active and doing things like walking the city walls. The teenage boy is older now and thinks the city is a lot different to when he was young. He often tells people he had the last good childhood because he got to grow up without any worries or anxiety about the world around him. He's still very good at making friends and looking after himself because of the way he grew up. It's not a good idea to explore caves and tunnels by yourself, but the moral of this story is spending time with the people around you can make your life so much sweeter.
You had all sorts of people.
Get that through there. We've got the young man here.
There we go. We're on the sweet. Mal, do you want your stick?
No, I'm all right.